I got you here, man. Ready to go?
There we go. Let's do it.
B, you still on the phone with me?
Yeah.
Rob, what's up, boss? Good to see you, man.
What's up, brother? How we doing?
You want a minute before we move on? Seems like you're rushing.
I'm good, man. I can cruise.
Sweet. Well, dude, how was the workout?
Oh, it was good. It was a light one. Nothing crazy.
Before we begin, man. What's
Yeah.
up, man? I'm Connor, man. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
I was like gauging everyone's questions. I was like, yo, I mean, because people get pumped. It's like the Patriots, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, what questions do you guys have for Rob? And people were like, dude, how does beard get so thick, man?
Genetics, real easy. Genetics.
Now, did you start growing that post playing or?
No, I've had a beard since I was like 18. So it's just one of them things, man. The Croatian genetics, I guess. It just gives you a big ass beard.
Have you been back to Croatia yet?
Yeah, I have. I went for my honeymoon, actually. My wife is Croatian too, so I lucked out on that one. I'm full-blooded, man, and my kids are like full-blood Croatians.
Now, what are some of like the genetic traits that Croatians normally carry over? Like, I know Greek dudes are like super testosterone filled, hormonal.
I think number one is a thick beard, because my grandfathers both had badass beards, which is genetics, obviously. I always ask my old man, like, what did like our ancestors do in Croatia? And I guess they're just like stone, like they just like chip rocks away for like they're like stone removers. I don't know. It's like remove stones from fields and stuff, just crazy stuff. I mean, the way of life back then is different. Onion fields and all this crazy stuff. So, it's crazy. When I was in Croatia, beautiful women, I'm talking like insane, like beautiful women.
Dude, you're married.
Yeah. So my wife's Croatian. She's beautiful. So
okay, all right, my fault.
That's a compliment to the Croatian, the genetics. Beautiful people. So we went out there. We went to Dubrovnik. We went to Split. We went to Var. We did like a 2-week thing. We bounced around. It was cool. We had a great time. Different. You go to anything like not United States. It's just so strange. Like even the toilets. I was looking at the toilets. I'm like, dude, they're like perfect circles. I'm like, what the hell? There's no oval here. There's no like comfort seat. No, it's not. It's just a perfect circle. Like, all right.
Dude, it was the same thing. I went to Turkey in December, and the toilets are perfect squares.
That's so weird.
So I'm like, dude, this looks like it's gonna hurt a little bit.
Yeah, like that. Well, I guess in other countries they don't want you to sit down very long, so they want you to get up and do other things. America, we're kind of fat and happy and lazy, so most of the time people want like a comfort seat so they can go through their Instagram accounts while they're on the throne.
I know, we're sedentary. Is that how you say it? Is it sedentary? Or
Sedentary.
Sedentary.
Yeah.
Hey, well, listen, I have one of our producers, Brendan, on the phone. Brendan, say what's up to Rob.
What's going on, Rob?
What up, man?
And dude, before we move on, can you just give a quick synopsis of who you are and what you do?
Yep. So I'm Rob Ninkovich. I former NFL football player, played for the New England Patriots, Miami Dolphins, New Orleans Saints, won a couple Super Bowls. It was a great time. Then I graduated from the professional levels. I don't like to say retired because that's kind of like an old people term when you retire. I think that you got to be like in your 60s or 70s to retire completely. So then I moved into doing some broadcasting, local stuff first. People don't realize that when you play football your whole life, basically from August, say last weekend in July to December, as an adult, you don't have a Saturday or a Sunday or a Friday to basically be normal, to do anything like what normal people do. So my first year, I was like, man, I want to experience what an October is on a weekend. Like, I want to go do stuff. I want to like check out different things that I've never been able to do. I never tailgated, so I wanted to go check out like what tailgating was like, and just like having a good time, enjoying my family. that first year. Then the second year I did some local stuff, just NBC Boston. Then the third year out, I worked with ESPN. I did a 2-year thing. I'm still working with them right now. So currently I do some coverage with ESPN on just NFL stuff. And, I own a motorsports business in New
You own
Hampshire.
that?
Yep, I'm partners with my buddy Joel. So he owns, we're 50-50 partners in that.
Yeah.
And there's 1,300 acres up there that we own, and it's connected to the Jericho State Park. So this is all like new stuff. It's kind of like happening right now as we speak. So we're like cutting new trails. We're gonna expand things. We're gonna have another building that we're putting together. Kind of like make it like a destination, because people want to, especially right now, you want to get out, you want to be outside, you want to ride. You can go hiking. So this is going to be like 4 seasons. You can go hiking. You can go cross country ski. You could do snowmobiles. Like we're gonna have trails there. You could do 4-wheelers, side by sides. It's all like in one thing. And then eventually, I'm talking to a few people and putting like little cabins in the woods, because it's a ton of acreage there. And you could just come to our location, unload your stuff, take your stuff up to your cabin, stay there a weekend, and then just have a little getaway. So that's kind of like my new deal right now. That's what I'm working on.
So elaborate. You're kind of creating your like own national park.
Yes,
That's fire.
your own park, your own like sanctuary. So because the national parks, the state park, sorry, not national, the state park, it's called Jericho State Park in Berlin, New Hampshire. So Jericho State Park is like 7,000 acres, and we are abutted to that 7,000 acres with 1,300 acres. And you can go from that property, because if you abut a state park, you can use your property for having cabins and having, places to go stay the night, get a fire, like nice cabin with a fireplace. And you can bring your family up there, and you can go, side by sides. You can go on a snowmobile and go up into the state park. And then you have your fun for the day. You come back to your cabin, you have food, you have dinner, you do whatever you want. And you do that for as many days as you want. And it's pretty neat, because if you're in the state park, they only have like RVs, like you can bring your RV up there, but it's not like, a true destination. You got people next to you. So this is going to be more like secluded. Go up there. And we've already had interest from like Polaris to give us some grants to have like events there.
What's Polaris? That's like the ski-doo company, like the ski machine.
Yeah, Polaris. Yeah, Polaris is a like snowmobile company, and there's cool stuff going on, because there's like everything's turning into EV. So they're gonna come out with like electric side by sides, and we have 4 or 5 windmills on the top of the peak, because actually the land that we own is called Mount Forest. It's actually like a peak and overlooks Berlin. And there's 5 wind turbines on the top of the mountain. So we own 3 of the 5 that's on the property, and then that's creating power. So I mean, that it should be, there's a lot of things that still have to be done, and there's still going to be a process here, but we started it. It's already started. So I think the 1st of December we were operational under our name. So the dealership is called Mom's Jericho. And that's in Berlin, New Hampshire. So
and you have mowed trails up there, like you have.
Yeah. So the cool thing is if you own land in New Hampshire and you open it up to public access. So if I let you go on my property with your snowmobiles, the state takes over any liability. So the state pays your taxes on your liability.
Let's go.
So I mean, that's big. So especially when you have a lot of land. So that helps. And then you have clubs. So you have people that are ski clubs that they're all volunteers. They want to have they want to have trails cut. They want to have places to go, because like now, especially 2021, people are nervous about letting other people on their land, because if there's, there is risk involved, like someone, drinking or something, being an idiot, and they get hurt, or they're, throwing trash, all over the place. And it's so we're going to have a tight knit group of people that are working there, that want to take care of the property, and the people that go up there, kind of the right type of people, family oriented, so they already cut one trail, which literally it was insane. I went up there about a month ago, and the trail before was all overgrown and you could barely get through it. Like you were literally like walking through it. It was this tight, and they opened it up to like 12 foot wide. Like it's huge now. And they were all out there with like chainsaws, clearing it themselves. And, you give them money because it's like, hey, they're volunteering, but it's still like, dude, you're working like like sunrise to sunset, and you're doing it for your own, like they want to go out there and have their own fun. But it's cool because it's something different. And New Hampshire I don't know if you've ever been to New Hampshire.
I keep my distance, but yes, I have been.
Dude, it is like, if you go really north, like, cause that's where I'm at. I'm like right by the White Mountains.
Dude, people are so hit or miss on New Hampshire from Massachusetts. You know that.
I enjoy New Hampshire. First of all, if you're gonna go buy something, if you're gonna go buy a snowmobile or anything of value, you go to New Hampshire because you're not gonna pay state tax, which is very enticing. So if you own property up there, it makes sense. It makes sense to go up north. Massachusetts, say what you're gonna, you can say whatever you want about Mass, but they love their taxes, right? And they're gonna get their money. So they call it Taxachusetts, right? So they're gonna tax the crap out of you. In New Hampshire, if you like the outdoors and you like being outside and getting away, there's very few places where it's almost like untouched. There's everything's starting to come in around you, and cities are expanding, and people want to go to the suburbs, which is like making everything so congested. I personally like going up somewhere, going on my property, and hey, I'm just by myself with the people I want to be with, having a few cold beers and having a nice fire. Like that's perfect for me.
Dude, another great benefit to your property is if a real deal apocalypse happens, you got a getaway, man. You're good to go.
Hey, I'm not gonna tell you what's on that property too.
I'm gonna join you, man.
There might be a door that goes under the ground, but we'll see. I don't know.
A shelter.
Wink, 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 wink.
Well, dude, when your career was coming to an end, did you know you wanted to go the entrepreneurial route, or was coaching ever in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, coaching it's always still there in the back of my head. Like, hey, if you want to still be involved and do something that it's so weird, because when you are a pro athlete, I try to explain it this way. Imagine a doctor. They go to school and they perfect their skills. And once they have every tool in the toolbox, they get a job as a doctor, and they use those tools until they're 70 and they really retire, right? And along that whole length in time, people go to them for, they're helping people. All the skills that they've gained over school, their years of working, comes together for a career that helps a lot of people out. In football, you gain all these skills and you learn all these things, you have all these tools, and then you stop playing football at 32 years old, 31 years old. And all those things that you've gained, the knowledge and the technique and all the stuff that you've worked on and perfecting your craft to be an elite athlete, doesn't really mean anything. It's pointless. You go on a job interview and say, hey man, I could set an edge and I can get to a quarterback. They're like, it doesn't. The one thing I would say it gives you,
but you develop like crazy, like mental characteristics.
Mental character. That's what I was going to say. The one thing it does give you, it gives you your work ethic. So you're always scratching, clawing, fighting to be the best. And certain guys though, because there's some athletes that they're just gifted, right? And the gifted, it's like, the kid that on his 18th birthday got $1 million from a fund. It's like when you don't really work for it hard, over time, when you get a little bit older, those things that you need and those intangibles of like working your butt off every single day, trying to perfect your craft, trying to be the best you can possibly be. As you get older, you become a little slower. You're not as fast. You're not as explosive. You're not as strong. So like you have to rely on all those things that you built when you were younger to lean back on that work ethic so you can keep playing at a high level. So that's the one thing I would say to get into the business side of things. I wanted to do that to experience the competitive side, because everything you do in business is competitive and you want to be the best. You want to win. So that's why, I teamed up with Moms. If you look up Moms Motorsports, They have 5 locations now. They're one of the top 5 in the country in sales. So I wanted to go and learn from the best and how Joel does things, because he came in as he was a banker. He was actually a CFO of a bank. Joel Wheeler was a CFO of a bank. His dad started the company. He was actually doing his own thing in banking and finance. His dad was getting older, said, hey, I'm either going to sell this thing and do, retire, or it's going to be gone. So he's like, all right, well, I want to get back. I want to make sure that the family name, the business can carry on. And he took all the knowledge from the banking side of things and grew Moms to like, a lot. He does like 30 million in sales in one location. So he got into the finance side. So he started his own finance company. He started his own warranties. So like that's the ins and outs of all this stuff too. Because look, I understand motorsports. People are like, oh, it's a 4-wheeler, it's a side-by-side, but that's kind of like it's people's get away from the real world. Everyone needs a truck, everyone needs a car. But when you've worked for something and you want to go enjoy yourself and you want to go be with your family. My little boy has a little PW 4-wheeler. Him and my little girl go outside, they love it. It's just little like family bonding stuff that I really grew up with, because I grew up in Illinois, and I was on the suburbs, like kind of the outskirts. 5 minutes one way, you're in like the middle of nowhere cornfields, and then you go the other way and you're in like the suburbs. So I grew up doing all that stuff, riding dirt bikes, 4-wheelers. So it's just like, it's kind of like in you to want to continue to be around stuff like that. And it's fun. It's fun. It's like, if you can do something that's not really something that you wake up and you're like, I'm going to my job. Like, it's not a job. It's like, okay, I enjoy it. So you want to have fun with what you're doing for your profession. And, there's probably people listening to this like, oh yeah, like I wish, sometimes there's parts of things that always are going to stink. When I was playing football, like, did I enjoy every moment of playing football? No. Like, I didn't enjoy being hurt, tearing my shoulder up, having surgeries. I don't enjoy conditioning and wanting to fall over because I'm so tired. Like, that stuff's not fun. But winning Super Bowls, that's great. That's fun. And in the business side of things, there's always going to be hiccups and bumps. Just like, look at what our country's gone through in the last year. I think back to my birthday. My birthday's Monday, February 1st, my birthday. So
Happy birthday, my boy.
37 years old, bro.
Dude, you look like 34.
It's the greasy skin, Croatian grease.
Yes, that Croatian DNA, baby.
The Croatian DNA, the oily skin. So, you think back, I think back to last year at this time. I was out to dinner with my wife and a friend, and there was like nothing. There was nothing going on right now. There was no COVID. And then in 1 year, everything changed, basically. Like, there's a lot of things that are going to change, probably forever, which is unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. So, there's things that people were riding high, and then there's now the things that are coming down. But the crazy part of this whole thing is, with this I just read an article that the country's billionaires have gained 1.1 trillion in wealth.
Well, that boy Bezos is balling, man.
Yeah. So it's like, the uber rich and the super wealthy are going to continue to be uber and super wealthy even when pandemics hit, because guess what? They have the angles on everybody. Okay, well, guess what? We can't go to the store. Oh, we'll order it on Amazon. It's crazy. It really is.
Now, did you realize it was a benefit, like retiring as a Patriot and pivoting into a business career, just because people love professional athletes around here so much more than most cities? Like, if you retired like a Jaguar, it might be a little bit harder to fire something up.
Yeah, no, look, people remember you for what they last saw you. Like, and when I say that, people remember the last time they see someone physically playing a sport, or, unfortunately, the last time you see somebody in the life, and you remember that. You remember that. It's ingrained in your brain. So for me, I won the Super Bowl, and I wanted to go out on my terms. And when I say my terms, there's only 3 ways you can go out. of any professional sport. It's your way, it's their way, or it's injured. That's it. There's no other way. And I would say 90% of the guys, any girls, any professional sport. I just watched the documentary on Lindsey Vonn that HBO did. She didn't want to go out like that. I mean, she's crying because her career's over because her knees were shot. She was pushed out of the sport that she loved due to her body failing her. Just her knees were shot. She couldn't ski. She couldn't skate anymore. She couldn't do it. She couldn't ski.
She was so goddamn dominant when she was killing it.
Yeah, she was killing it. So you see and as an athlete, you see the rise and you see the peak of your career. You can feel it, you know it, like you're at the top of where you're going to be at physically, mentally. And then you start to feel the decline. Just, I would say, I mean, when you hit like 32, you start to feel it because you've been doing stuff for so long, and you see these young kids, and you got the coaching staff talking on this side, like, oh, he's 31, he's 32, he's getting older, he's getting a little bit slower. And for me, I knew coming in my first year in the league, I tore my ACL, and it was in the Superdome opening game. So when the Saints opened up Monday night versus the Falcons, Steve Gleason, block punt, that whole big thing. I was on the field for that. Like, I experienced all that. It was insane. And then just a few plays later, I was running down on kickoff, got hit weird, twisted me up. I tore my knee up, and then that was it. That was my season.
It was gone.
Whew. I mean, I tore my ACL, my MCL, my PCL, my meniscus, and I had microfracture. So I had like a explosion. They called it like an explosion inside my knee because I was like stuck in the turf and I got turned. So my foot was stuck one way and then I literally like spun on it, So I felt
like a bionicle leg now.
I felt 3 distinct pops, pop, pop, pop. And then I couldn't, the only thing holding my leg together basically was my skin, and my LCL was like holding my lower part of my leg to my upper part. Because after the game,
dude, why are you smiling?
Man, because I'm thinking about it. After the game, listen to this. After the game, because I think back on it, and it's like, man, like that pushed me to a point of like, I didn't know if my career was going to be over, but it pushed me to be a better person, player, everything across the board. Because when you have things that like almost take your path and your career away that you've been really focused on, and when you're 22 years old, you're a little bit cocky and you feel like you're riding this wave that's never going to end and nobody's going to stop it. I'm going to ball out. I'm going to get a big contract. I'm going to be a starter. And then boom, everything's done. You're like, and then you're sitting in an office and you're thinking about it. And you're like, okay, I hope I get good news here. And after the game, I was on crutches, and you're riding this like high of just adrenaline and everything. And I remember getting in the car and I was like, just got in normal. Like I got in like I would normally. And I totally like forgot that my leg was really messed up. And when I picked my leg up to bring it in, like it just kind of like fell, and I felt it. I was like, oh shit. And I grabbed my like calf and I had to like pick the bottom part of my leg up, put it in the car. And I went to the doctor.
Anyone listening, Rob is still smiling as he recounts this. This dude's a masochist. It's a freak.
My dad calls me a masochist. I am a masochist. But anyway, pain is your friend. My dad would always tell me pain is your friend, which is
I agree. I'm surprised you're not super into endurance running at this point. It's like the most painful shit of all time.
Dude, I'll get on the Peloton and I'll try and be like top 30 in the country right now, or in the world. And I'm pretty close. And I literally, I get a little chest pain. I'm like, I can fight through it, no problem. Love it. But, get to smelling salts. Woo! Get crazy.
Dude, I got a 15-mile run down to Charles this Sunday in the brutal cold. You want to join me?
Yeah, well, 15 miles for me. I'm 250. So,
dude, eat like 3 miles with me.
I can do 3. I can do 3 easy. So I'll go in and I see Dr. Dr. Andrews. I think it's James Andrews. Yeah, it's James Andrews. He actually perfected the patella graft and like the replacing the ACL and all that stuff. So I went to go see him in Birmingham, Alabama at the time. It was in Birmingham. And I go in his office and he's sitting there, he's looking at the MRIs. He's like, yeah, your ACL, I'll fix that. Your PCL is going to scar over. Your MCL will heal. I'll fix your meniscus. And we'll just do a little microfracture to get that bone back and you'll be good to go in a year. I'm like, sweet. So I did the surgery. 8 months later, I was back and I was fixated on not wearing a brace. So, you see all these people that have an ACL, they wear a brace. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You're just going to like limit yourself. So the whole time I didn't put a brace on, never put a brace on, came back at 8 months. My knee was good to go. I was 100%.
What
And
year
then
was this?
This was 2007, coming back in 07. And some asshole rolled up on me in training camp. Andy Alleman. Sorry, Andy, if you're watching, probably not. He was a rookie, like an overzealous, like crazy rookie, flying around on the like ground all the time. And any coach in football tells you if you're on the ground, you're wrong. So this dude was constantly on the ground, got flung into me and he tore my other MCL, my other knee, which was just enough because the MCL, like it'll heal in like 4 weeks. It's not a big injury, but it was just enough to where like it sidelined me to where I couldn't be out there and like get back to where I was. So then, you get hurt with your knee, you're out for 8 months, you come back, you hurt your other. So it was almost like a freaking a curse, because then I tore that one. I was back in 4 weeks. I was good, but it was just enough for them to release me. And that was it. But and then going through those, like getting cut, it's all just a character builder. It just builds and kind of strengthens your character and you believe in yourself. And I understood at that point when I got hurt, I understood that I just needed another opportunity to get in front of somebody that really, really is going to give me a shot. Because the NFL, unfortunately, there's a lot of BS involved. There's a lot of guys that are drafted high. The teams aren't going to replace those guys because they have money involved in them. If the money's involved, then it's their evaluation that's going to be critiqued. So if you look at some teams, they draft a guy high, he's going to be on the team. They're not going to cut him because whoever drafted that guy has a job that people are evaluating how he evaluates talent. So if he goes out there and he drafts a guy and they cut him, well, then he looks like an idiot. So, just like free agency, it's almost like college football. When you have a walk-on that's literally off the street, it's hard for that kid to beat out the scholarship kid because who gave him the scholarship? A coach who recruited him, So,
dude, it's so interesting you say this because when I ran the episode with James, he like said the same thing. He was like, yo, I was just waiting for a shot and someone just recognized my work ethic and my discipline. Like, why do you think most dudes kind of like you guys with that like grit just end up with the Pats?
I mean, because Bill every year will say to the team when we all get together for the first time, which he truly does this. He'll say, I don't care who you are, where you're from, your draft status, your contract. If you can help the team win, there's a place for you here. Now, it might not be on the 53. It might be in some other role like a practice squad player. It might be a guy that's bouncing from the practice squad, off the practice squad, on the practice squad, running down on kickoff. But if you can kind of take hold of what we were trying to do here, and that's, the Patriots do a great job of getting the right group of guys together. And I know 2020 has been a tough one for the Pats, but they've lost a lot. And they always had, the one thing that the Patriots always had was an older group of guys. For the young guys, you have your old guys and your young guys. Your young guys come in, they see the older guys, and they learn from these guys. And you want the young guys, and this is an issue too. In 2021, these young kids these days, younger guys like yourself, I don't know how old you are. You look pretty young to me.
Yes.
But yeah, there's a lot of younger kids these days that, there's the social media platforms, the Instagrams, all that stuff. A lot of that shit's fake. So they see things, they want to get to the top like now. They want to be like starters instantly. Like, hey, I'm a 5th round draft pick. I want to start. I want a big contract. I want to do all these things. I want to sell t-shirts on Instagram. I want to be Julian Edelman of the Instagram game. But guess what? You first have to build a foundation and earn the respect of everybody around you so you can climb the ladder to get to where you need to be. And for example, Julian Edelman, the kid came in as basically a late round draft pick, was a college quarterback, came in to learn the position of receiver. He basically worked his ass off for 6 years to get into the position to where then from 6 years to 10, he took off and everything followed him. So all that hard work, all that dedication, it all came with him. Boom. Super Bowl MVP. Like, come on. You can't tell me that when that guy was drafted, anyone would say Julian Edelman's going to be a Super Bowl MVP. Like, that's just crazy. But with that, he did a great job of marketing all that success. But you can't do that without earning the respect of everybody around you. And the Patriots had the older group of guys, the younger group learned from the older guys. As this young group got older, the new guys came in. So for me, when I first got here in 2009, there was Teddy Bruschi. There was that old Patriot, like.
Was Corey Dillon there still?
No, Corey was gone. Corey Dillon. But we had we had Falk. K Falk was here. You had Vince. You had Big V. You had guys. You had Logan Mankins. You had Steve Neal. You had Matt Light. You had Tom. Obviously the constant. You had Tom. You had Junior Seau. Like when I got here, I'm looking at Junior Seau. I'm like, holy shit, that's Junior Seau. Like, are you shitting me? It's Junior Seau. Like, I can't believe it. I wanted to get his autograph. I got his autograph. So it's just it's like then with that young group of guys, 2009 and 2010, they drafted Gronk, McCourty, Julian. You had Gostkowski that was young coming from 06. Yeah. Well, that was unfortunate, but that guy was super talented,
killing it.
Yeah, in more ways than one.
Okay.
So, Gronk, who was a freak, and then you just see those guys mature, and then this year's tough because you lose Hightower Chung, 2 other guys I didn't say. Those 2 guys didn't play this year, so you lose some guys, and you lose that group that would have been so vital to these young. You had young guys this year that were thrown into positions that I felt that were probably too big and too fast for them. So, I think.
Are you dissuading younger players from building the business side of things when they come in? You think they should just focus on playing?
I think, yeah, because your play helps you grow your brand. Your play is what is your. And my agent used to tell me this. She would tell me this all the time. When you play football, your plays on the field reflect your pay off the field. So what you do on the field is what people see. Now that should reflect your contract status. That should reflect your endorsements. That should reflect, if you suck, you don't deserve to get paid. You don't deserve to sell anything. You shouldn't get anything. So there's all these kids now, these young kids, they have teams of people. They have Instagram people. They have Twitter people. They have TikTok people that say, hey, TikTok at this time, we'll get the most followers. And I get it. But if you only have a 2-year career, nobody's going to follow you or want to do anything with somebody that doesn't perform. Now, if you perform and you go out there, I don't know what's doing that. Okay. If you go out there and you perform.
You got no case on that phone? You're crazy.
No case, bro. And this thing.
You're a lunatic.
You know how old that is? It's about 5 years old. I don't even know what this is.
Is that Paul Revere's phone?
This thing is, what is this? How do you know what the actual phone is? How does it say my phone or something? This is an iPhone 6. Not even broke. Look at that screen. It's great.
I know. That's what John Adams used to use.
Now this is my email phone.
Okay.
No case, but it is broken. Yes.
No case, mad cracks.
It's mad broke. Yeah. It fell off my washer. I was really angry. That's a challenge. No case on the phone. How can you protect your phone? Is it something that you don't care about? Because then it'll break. If you care for your shit, it'll take care of you.
There's no way to rationalize not having a case at this point. Those
Hey,
things crack like crazy.
if you drop it, don't drop it. Don't drop it.
Well,
Um,
when you
yeah,
were
I think back to what you were saying about the young kids coming in the league right now. I think you have to perform, and if you perform in college, that anyone can perform in college. I can go back to college right now. I get 5, 6 sacks, 8 sacks, 10 sacks. I don't know. I'd be better than
no,
most
you are.
college kids. Oh, easy, bro. I'm still cranked up. But anyway, you have to earn the respect of your peers. You have to go out there, do the work, put in the time, grind it out, and then success comes. I mean, it just does. It does.
Now, again, back to like that common grit mindset when it comes to coming to the Pats. I mean, you were in JUCO, right?
Man, I got crazy stories about JUCO. So I was in Illinois. I graduated high school, 2002. I was all state. I was a good football player, but I wasn't. That nobody recruited me. I didn't have any big looks. I didn't have. I had D3 offer. They don't even give scholarships. They give aid. So I was looking at it, and I'm like, all right, well, how can I get to Division One? I want to play Division One. That was my goal. I want to play Division One. So things kind of in life, you have some luck involved, and it just things happen by chance. And at the time, Joliet Junior College was about 30 miles down the road from my parents' house, and they had just won the national championship. And Bob McDougall was the head coach at the time. Called me up. He says, "Hey Rob, like we got a good team here. If you want to try and stepping stone this thing, get to the next level, we got a great program here. Come on out." So I, every day go do my schoolwork, go practice on a field with no grass, bring my own pads. I played in a stadium with no fans. There'd be like 3 parents out there and fake crowd noise. Had 2 years there where I really enjoyed it. I mean, I was playing with guys that are probably in prison now, but there are a lot of tough dudes that were either kicked out of school or juvie or arrested. They got kicked out of school. So it was an experience there. I met a lot of guys that came from many different backgrounds and upbringings, inner city kids. I played with Calvin Hayden, who actually played for the Colts and had a pick 6 in the Super Bowl that actually helped them win. So he was one of my teammates. He was probably me and Calvin were only 2 guys that got to the league out of that group. But no, it was a great experience though, because it really humbled me. All these kids that were going off to colleges, like, oh, they're going to Eastern Illinois and Illinois State. I'm like, Ball State. I'm like, okay, I'm going to JUCO. I'm going to Joliet Junior College down the street with middle-aged housewives that want to go get their associates. Like, that's what it was. So I had to really stay focused and motivated, because it would have really been easy at that moment to just pack it in and say, well, it's just not going to happen for me. Might as well just go to a state school and just do that. Like, it would have been so easy to do that. But I just had this like drive inside me. Like, I want to do this. I feel that I am undervalued and overlooked for what I am. I feel like I have an elite set of skills. If I can perfect those and I can continue to get bigger, stronger, faster, and learn more about the game, I'll have a chance. And, I was coming home one day from junior college, and Mark Hagan, who is the defensive line coach for the Boilermakers for Purdue University, was recruiting this kid, AJ Lindsey.
Rewind. Sorry to interrupt you. So the goal was always D1. Did you ever in those days have NFL like dreams? Was that ever on your mind?
I mean, when you're a kid, you always watch games and you dream and aspire to be a pro athlete.
But did you think it was feasible at JUCO?
I did not think it was. I mean, I wouldn't say I didn't think it was feasible. I never for a second doubted the abilities that I had to at least to play at a high level. And I guess a high level, like D1 or pros. I mean, when I got to Purdue, and this was really the point where I knew that I had a chance to go to the next level after Purdue. And I'll explain that right now. When my sophomore year, Mark Hagan was recruiting this guy, AJ Lindsey. I went home. I was like, yo, Pop, like, why are they recruiting this kid? Like, I'm better than him. I'm better. I led the country in sacks that year. I had like 17 sacks. was killing it. Like, and my dad was like, I don't know, why don't you just call the head coach? And I was like, all right, I'll do that. So I literally called Joe Tiller like 25 times. I left him 25 voicemails. I called him repeatedly. He called me back. He was like, hey, kid. That's exactly what he said. Hey, kid, stop calling me. Send me your tape. Send some, like, Mark a tape when he comes back. We'll check it out, and, you know, we'll get back to you. So I gave him my stuff. They got back to me like that week. They're like, hey, we have an official visit this weekend. Would you like to come out to Purdue? Like, yeah, I'd love to. That's where I wanted to go, because Purdue was known for their smaller defensive ends that were pass rushers, and that's what I was. So I go out to Purdue, do the visit. They said, okay, we're going to offer you a scholarship. I was ecstatic, but they said one issue. I was like, well, what's that? He said, we want to move you to tight end. I was like, I said, okay, well, how about this? He said, you can move me to tight end, but the first day of practice, I want 2 a day, because back then you had 2 practices a day. I said, I want 1 practice at tight end. I want the other practice as a defensive end. And he said, all right, deal. And I knew, I was like, all right, well, once I have 1 practice at defensive end, they're not going to make me a tight end. And literally, you know, it's about going against the best guys on the team too. So the first day of practice, I'm playing DN. I'm going against the best tackle they had, Mike Otto. I'm like, all right, I'll just make this dude a turnstile, and then they won't make me a tight end. And that's what happened. So I went out there, you know, beat everybody, and they were like, this dude's insanely good. Let's keep him at defensive end. And when I got to Purdue, I was so crazy that I was going to be too small or not fast enough or not big enough to play at the Division I level. It was almost like psychotic with like my training. I probably overtrained. Like, I'd go work out 3 hours a day. I'd go run. I was 270 pounds, like really strong. Like, I was really strong, because I was thinking like, I'm going to go there. And I never experienced like a Division I program, like a player. So I just really thought I was going to be undersized. I didn't think I was going to be strong enough, because that's all they would tell me. Like, oh, you're not big enough to play in D1. Like, oh, you're not fast enough. You're not strong enough to play D1. So when I got there, and I was 265, benching like 405, squatting like 650. And like everybody else was they were behind me. I'm like, and that was, you know, a 40-yard dash, 3 cones, 5, 10, 5 drill. I was smoking everybody. I'm like, dude, I might have a chance. I think I can go. I'm good. Like, I think I can do it. And I still got to get better here. But, you know, then I played 2 years there, and I got drafted. I'm like, holy like this, it's so crazy that if you really, really focus and put your mind into something, and if you're obsessed with something, it takes off. It really does. It really works.
It's actually so interesting. So mind you, I started this podcast on top of my dad's office 3 years ago, and I had all these rappers coming up, and they were smoking and drinking, and he found out. He's like, get the fuck out of my office. What are you doing? What's wrong with you? And it's always been my goal since I was 16 to make a fat movie in Boston and put it in theaters all over the city. And we fucking shot it. And now in the next like 6 months, I'm actually going to put this thing in theaters, just because it hasn't come off my mind. It's crazy if you just really lock in on something and obsess like crazy, shit happens.
Yeah, I mean, look,
you better watch the movie with your wife.
I'll watch it. Promise. But being obsessed over things, the right things. Let's make it a point. Like, if you're obsessed about the wrong things, it's not a good thing. So, I mean, if you in your head were obsessed, just like yourself, when you're 16 years old, you had a plan in your head on how I was going to do this, and probably a story. And I bet you that story has manipulated itself and changed itself and gotten better over the years, from the time you were 16 to right now. What you have put out there has probably, you've been thinking about it so long that it's probably improved every single year. Then you go back like, oh, no, that intro, no, this would be a better intro, and this would be a better line, and this would be a better story, to where in a couple more months, you might say, well, shit, I should have done it this way. But you're still constantly thinking about what you want to do, where you want to be, how the success you want to have. And I was just thinking about this today, because as I was working out, I was doing something I didn't want to do. I was doing like sled pushes, and I looked ahead, and I was like looking at the mirror, and I was like, nobody wants a hand. Nobody wants anything in life for nothing. You know, like, nobody wants a handout. People want to work. People want to achieve lifelong dreams and goals. And there are things, don't get me wrong, there are things that stand in the way of people's goals, people's dreams, aspirations. I mean, your environment, like where you're, the people you surround yourself with, unfortunate accidents, circumstances that all affects your trajectory. And we're all kind of like a shooting star. And as you go along, there might be a piece that redirects you and you shoot a different direction, but that direction might have helped you or it might have hurt you. But you can't think about it in a sense of I'm afraid to go on this path. And some people, that fear like kind of it paralyzes them. They're just like, I don't want to take a chance. I don't want to do, I want to be comfortable. I want to be safe. And that could be that can actually hurt you as well. Because when I was younger, I just call the head, just do it. Just go ahead, call the head coach. Just go ahead and do what you think is right. And, there's moments that I remember in 2007 when I was cut, I was living in an extended stay in Miami. I didn't know where my career was going. I just moved away from my apartment with all my stuff. I had a suitcase full of crap. And I'm like, just thinking about it, I'm like this thing could almost be over right now. Like it could almost be like what I have always thought about and focused on for so long could be done. Like, what do I do next? And when I talk to kids, especially, the old saying, like, don't put all your eggs in one basket, like that saying, I totally disagree with that. I totally do. I feel like if you really put everything you have into what you want to do and it doesn't work out, the sacrifice and the things that you put yourself through, you've learned from, and you're probably going to be a better person from that. And you look at, and the one thing that I've always been intrigued with, and when I talk to people, very successful people, my first question is like, what's your story? Like, how did you get to be, a multimillionaire? Like, how did this company start from nothing, and how did it get to being where it's at? And 9 times out of 10, I mean, yes, you'll have your one that's like, oh, well, like my dad started it and I just took it over. Like you'll have that, like that happens. But like 9 times out of 10, it was sleepless nights. I mortgaged my house. I slept on the floor in the office. I was consumed with what I was trying to do. And then it was that avalanche at the top that just broke off. And then over time, it just gained strength and then just took over. And then now it's, tearing down 100-foot trees, you can't stop it. So, that's the one thing that I've learned through just sports and my experiences. It's man, if you really want to do it, just dive into it. And, when I go back home, I'd go back to Chicago, I'd see kids that played football with me, and they'd hit me with like the bullshit of like, man, if I just didn't quit that sophomore year, maybe I'd be a pro like you.
What you did.
And I'd say, well, you quit though, you can't go back. Like you can't. And there's something that I've learned along the way too. The pain of sacrifice is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts forever. Think about that. So when you're running your 15 miles and you run and you got a mile left and there's like that little guy on your shoulder that's telling you like, hey man, like you did 14. That's good. That's good enough. Like you don't have to do 15. Nobody else is doing 15, but you just fight through it. And yeah, it's painful. Like you're in pain, you're sacrificing like that pain inside of you to get to that 15 and to finish strong. If you don't, and you stop at 13 or 12, you didn't do it. You regret that. You think about it. You get home, you're like, why did I just do that? But you can't do it. Like you can't go back. And there's people that maybe quit or they gave up, and like, they say it or they think about it all the time, and you can never get that back. So I feel terrible. I really do feel terrible for people because we all make mistakes. Don't get me wrong. I've made mistakes. You've made mistakes. We've all made mistakes, but it's the size of the mistake and the regret that could potentially change your life and the trajectory that you're on. And, for me, I tried to live with the best mindset of I'm going to sacrifice the most that I can so I don't have regret. And if I sacrifice and I know that I did my best and I don't have the regrets, then I don't look back and regret and say, man, I wish I did this or that. Because you're talking about sticking around here. And yeah, I mean, could I have probably made more money if I went to another team? Yeah, probably. If I didn't sign like my contracts early and I, stuck around, I wanted to build something special. If I didn't have that inside of me, I would have went and made a few more bucks. But when you have
rings, bro.
I got rings, bro. I got rings. So, this is pretty cool. You'll probably think this is sweet. All right, so this shoe.
I was gonna say, is that towel? Did Gronk sign that? Because it looks like it's 87.
Oh yeah, that's the thing down there. But no, these cleats right here, which are pretty sweet. I've shown these before. These are my game-worn cleats from the Super Bowl 49 against Seattle, right?
They still got a little tape on them there.
No, they still have all the confetti stuck inside with the field on the back. Yeah. So I'm like super careful with them because if I drop them, they're donezo.
That was the Falcons, or that was the
That's the Seahawks.
Now, yeah, to you, just because, dude, I could talk to you about like manifesting all day, but my Patriots friends are gonna be pissed if I don't ask you past questions. What you said the Super Bowl was better for you, the Falcons or the Seahawks?
Oh, it's got to be Seahawks. I mean, the first one is like taking the weight vest off, like taking off all that pressure from just losing. And everyone expected, when you play for the Patriots, you're expected to win the division, go to the playoffs, win a Super Bowl.
You used to.
Yeah. And from, you think 01, 03, 04, they won 3 Super Bowls. They didn't win another one until 14. So that was 10 years. But nobody really, like when you talk to people, they assume that you won a Super Bowl. It's like, look, I was like in high school when they won their first one. Like I didn't know. I was not a part of that. This is the Patriot book, but their new chapters being written here. So, that whole thing of like not winning and we lost, they lost. I wasn't here in 07, but then you lose in 12. AFC championship lose. It's like, man, it's crushing to have those losses. So it's got to be that first one. It was insane.
Now, what did you think when you lost to the Giants that second? Who caught the pass in that second one? That big Eli Manning throw, and everyone was like, dude, not again. Are you for real?
No, it's Manningham, I think, on the sideline.
Yeah, does that keep you up at night, man?
Yeah, that one sucked. That one.
Oh.
So there's a term that the Patriots have, and it's offense and defense, and it's called Rolex. And it's the worst play you want to call for defense, and it's the best play you want to call for offense. Because if you call it offensively, you're up, and it's basically run the timeout. So like, don't go out of bounds. If you like, just get down, let the clock keep running, and we're going to win this thing. If you call it on defense, that means you let them score. So it was, they called Rolex. I think it was, not Brandon Jacobs, Bradshaw might have, he tried to stop, but he came into the end zone there. We called Rolex. We, open up the floodgates there, let him run there for a touchdown. And then, we were close. Gronk was close. If he didn't have a shattered ankle, he might have caught that. But yeah, that one really sucked. That one hurt because you put in so much. You realize the amount of blood, sweat, tears you put in, not just for that season, but the off season.
Well, dude, how about your whole life starting from
everything. So and then you're never guaranteed an opportunity again. And a lot of guys don't have that opportunity. So there's guys, like the 49ers, there's guys on that team that got to the Super Bowl, they lost. They're not going to be back for a long ass time, and you might not have another chance in your career. So, for me at the time, I'm like, I was like, talk about obsessed. I was obsessed with trying to get back to that game, trying to get back to it. And we did. And when we won, it was like just insane emotion. At that time, it was my 9th year. So I was old. I was an older player at that point.
Well, I was in college. And me and my friend got super drunk after that, man.
Well, I got super drunk after I think all of them. Yeah.
Is that what happens? You just get teed up in the locker room, like, all right, let's go on the
Yeah.
private jet. Let's just ball out.
I mean, no PJs, but like you party hard after the Super Bowl. Hard.
Where was the Rick Ross party? I remember seeing all those pictures of Rick Ross, Rob Kraft. Everyone's like, yo, that's the most baller shit ever.
That was 49, I think. Yeah, Super Bowl 49. We had like Snoop Dogg, Rick Ross. We had everybody. It was great.
That's dope.
After the game, you're just like, get everybody. I'm talking everybody, coaches, everybody. Like they're all getting ripped up. So
now, at what point, playing wise, did you have more doubt in your head? The Seahawks game or halftime versus the Falcons?
probably. I mean, just got to be honest. The Falcons game, when you're down that many points, realistically, when you have played a lot of football and you've experienced a lot of games, you look at the time left and what your score is. And I remember being at halftime, everybody was calm and collected. There was no like panic. Nobody was freaking out. Nobody was screaming. We were all like a little bit embarrassed. Like you go out there and you get embarrassed like that. Everybody's watching. It's a Super Bowl. You don't want to be embarrassed like that. It's bad. So we were all in there like, yo, let's just go out here for the second half and let's just be respectable. Like let's gain some respect back from people. Let's not be like this team in the first half where you basically turn the TV off like this team, they shouldn't even be here. So, the second half for me, the offense got the ball first. So in my head, I was like, if the offense gets the ball and they go 3 and out, we're in trouble. Like we're in trouble. And they got the ball, they went 3 and out. I was like, ugh. But then after that strip sack, I mean, it was like a momentum, like flip the switch, whop, and you could feel it. You could feel the stress and the pressure. Like in those games, there's a certain amount of pressure on everybody. And you feel that pressure from the first play to the last play. Like you feel the amount of pressure. And that pressure from the first play, it's a little pressure, right? As the game progresses, you feel it and it gets a little bit more, builds up. In the fourth quarter, it's on. I mean, you feel it. Every single play is like could be a deciding factor in that game. And then you get a little tight, then you start, making mistakes. And the Falcons, they got up 20-23.
Yeah, but don't you have assurance at this point? You're like, yo, I kind of got the GOAT on my team. I'm gonna be all right.
No, I mean, yeah, but there's moments where that things are just getting out of hand, and the team itself is kind of going the wrong direction. But honestly, I'll tell you when the kind of the flip in my head was like, okay, these guys are going down. When you go on for PATs, like the PAT block, so you're trying to get the ball, you know what PAT block is, point after touchdown. So the first few scores, like these dudes were like happy, high-fiving, like, yeah. Well, after like they got up a lot, they started to kind of like be like, what's the after party? Like who's playing again? What's the ring gonna look like? And it was like, dude, you can't look beyond the end of the game. The final, when the final whistle blows, you start looking at that, you start thinking about the after party, you start thinking about, I'm a Super Bowl champion before you actually win the game. Then it's almost a wrap. So then you felt them kind of panicking, the Patriots score, and then they score again, 2-point conversion. Then you tie the game. Me and Chris Long were standing there. When we tied the game, we looked at each other, we're like, we're winning this. We're going to win this game. We're going to win this game. Then they go down, they score, game over. It was insane. And it was a little sad. It was a little bit sad for me because, I mean, I knew that was my last game. I knew going into like basically that game that it was probably the last time I'd ever play football.
Dude, you say that, but you don't think if you lost, you'd be like, yo, I got to go back.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Because I already had one. I already had the one ring. And, that was kind of like my mom after my 10th year was like, what are you still playing for? Like, what drives you? And then when you have your kids and you start thinking about long-term, like, well, it's pretty stupid when I was 25, just headhunting people. You start to like really think about, okay, what's the next 20 going to look like for me? I want to have all my, want to have all the functionability of my shoulders and my knees. I want to be able to run. I want to go run 15 with you. I want to throw a football, and there's some guys, unfortunately, they hang on too long and they look really bad. Like they can't run, they can't throw, they can't do anything. I'm like, what's life for if you can't like go do fun stuff and like go hiking? I climbed Kilimanjaro like a year and a half ago. Like it's
How was
just like,
that?
don't go to Africa.
I've been to Tanzania.
Oh, Tanzania. I was in Tanzania. I mean, I just think the feeling of being like helpless, like if you're helpless, like you are on a mountain and if anything happens, like you literally can't get anyone there to help you. I didn't like that feeling. That's the one thing I really hated about it. Like if you're in trouble, like the odds of you being in serious trouble are very high versus like here in the United States, it's like helicopter away, or like there's a really nice hospital with like not mosquito nets everywhere.
Dude, but you push your comfort zone. That's what we were just talking about.
Yeah. So I did that because I wanted to push my comfort zone, and I did it. And it was a bucket list. I got to the top, sat down. Hey, I'm at 19,000 feet. Like
Never again.
Can't breathe very well, but I did it. So that's a cool moment. I got pictures at the top. It was beautiful. It was insane. But the funny story around one of these safaris, and the guy that was like giving us a tour was like, oh, the mamba, like they're like the number one mamba strikes in the world is in the mountains of Tanzania or Kilimanjaro. As you're going through the jungle to get up to the top.
For those listening, a mamba is like a venomous, vicious snake.
A mamba, black mamba. So if it bites you, you have 45 minutes to get the antivenom, or you die. Like you die. And I was like, how far are we from antivenom? He was like 3 hours. I was like, oh, great. Well, don't get bit by a freaking snake or you're dead. Basically. Talk about toilets in Africa. There was just a hole. It's just.
I was gonna say just the woods.
It was just in the ground. Like I'm like, oh, cool. I was at the airport. I'm like, oh, I can poo in the hole. Okay, cool, great.
People but didn't you get a perspective? People there, they just don't care about as much shit as we do. They live a much more simple life.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we live in a egotistical world of pointless items in our lives. Like I get pulled
Dude,
into
you like cars though. Like
I do like cars. I was just gonna say I love cars. I mean, I do love cars, but that was something, I was a kid. I used to sneak into my grandpa's garage and he had an old Corvette. I used to sneak under his little tarp and I'd sit in it, and it was really cool. And I just think back on like my childhood. Me and my old man would go to like the car, like auto shows. My dad was just an iron worker, like, so when I had the means to like go get like a cool 65, like an old car, I'm like, it's cool. They don't make them anymore. It's almost like it's like fun to look at, because those old cars, like they're not cool to drive. Like they're freaking, you get an offender bender, you're dead, so it's like, they're just cool to look at. And most cars, when you buy a car, it depreciates instantly. Like those old cars, you can buy them, hang on to them, and you sell them and, get your money back. But like,
I got a feeling these first model Teslas will probably appreciate though.
The Tesla, the only issue, my buddy owned, so I do a lot of stuff with the automobiles, and I have some buddies in the industry, and the Teslas are not built well. Like they're not. Like they're very poor in reliability. The
paint, that stockholders.
Yeah, stockholders. But here's the thing. The stock is going to be this, no matter what. We know that the future of vehicles and all that stuff is going into the electric power, which I have some issues with it. I do. I to say that an electric powered car is green and is great for our world and our earth, it's kind of silly to say, because there's lithium lithium ion, like they're mining lithium in Chile right now with like 10-year-old children, and like, where does the batteries come from that power the car? And the battery is the size of a massive coffee table. And when you have a small battery like my phone here, they tell you don't throw this away. Because why? Because it'll destroy our earth, and then there's things in it that are not good for the planet.
I
So
think the
imagine
argument is it's a step in the right direction, though.
it's a step in the right direction, but the elements that go into it, and if you're in China and you plug your electric car in with a coal powered plant that's down the street, firing coal off, it's the same thing. It's the same footprint. So, they need to start focusing on the wind and maybe the currents of the ocean, like some type of turbine, because the ocean's constantly moving. With the current, something that is going to be constantly producing energy, that you're not burning fossil fuels, because we all know that what that does for the the carbon emissions and the carbon monoxide and all that stuff. So it's interesting to see where the future of transportation is going to be, because vehicles are very small footprint. Like, you think about what keeps our world moving. Airplanes. I don't know if you've ever seen an airplane start. Have you ever seen a jet start in the morning when it's cold?
No.
When it starts up, it has like a plume of smoke and it stinks. I mean, you've been on an airplane, right? They open the back door and you smell the nastiness coming in, like, and you like want to cover your face because you feel like you're going to be asphyxiated. Like a jet like produces immense amount of terrible things that for the earth. So,
Dude, you just smiled again when you were talking about asphyxiating on smoke. You're a real sicko.
asphyxiated. My dad used to do these treatments when I was a kid. He'd cover my mouth up, and then you like trying to freak out a little bit, and then he lets you go, and then you can breathe.
Wait,
And
your dad would strangle you?
And then he'd say, "Suck that sweet air," No, it was all fun though. It was all in good fun. Like,
yeah, that sounds healthy, bro.
Yeah, like he just, you cover you up, and then you kind of squirm a little bit, and then he let you go, and then you breathe air, and you're like, oh, like it's like if you ever been in like the bottom of a pool, and you're like, you stay down a little too long, and you're like, oh shit, and you're trying to get up, and you breathe in a little water, and then you get to the top, and then you're like, oh, like it feels so good to be right on the edge,
Holy shit, dude!
Everyone's like drowning, man. I've had a
never,
terrible experience at drowning almost.
You almost drowned?
Oh yeah, bad.
Yeah, you probably voluntarily.
No, this one was scary because I was an idiot, and my buddy Jake Ingram, he used to be a long snapper for the Patriots. Anyone listening? And he was born and raised in Hawaii, went to college in Hawaii, got drafted to come play for the Patriots. So he was in Hawaii his whole life, and he gets on an airplane to come here to New England. Like, imagine the absolute shock to your system of a Hawaii every day, the climate, the ocean, shoot spa, drinking Heine's on the beach, bro, like surfing, like, oh, cool, bro, like, no worries, we'll have fun. And then he comes here and it's like Bill Belichick, like, you suck, So I go to Hawaii with him, and this is like a guy's trip. And he takes me we're on the North Shore of Honolulu, which is massive. I mean, the guy that rented the house to us was like, do not go in the water. Whatever you do not go in the water. And I was like, I'm not going in the water. Screw that. Because literally the waves were 35 feet tall. I'm talking like bigger than the house. All day, all night, thunder, boom, boom. And the undertow, like if you put your foot in the sand, the water would come up and it would just suck you out. Like you'd sink in the sand because it was so powerful, like pulling out. So Jake was born and raised in that. So he was going out surfing, like he was in it, he fell, and like, I was like, whoa, that looked tough. Like, how do you get out of that one? He'd come in, he's like, bro, almost drowned on that one. I'm like, whoa, okay. And like, I guess if you're a surfer and you're from Hawaii, like almost almost dying or basically dying is like, it's a normal thing. Like, oh, like, yeah, I drowned 3 times, and like one time they resuscitated me, I'm good. It's like, whoa, that's crazy. So we go to Waimea Bay, which is a body surfing like beach, right? And it's like right next to the North Shore. And in February, the waves there are probably like 5 feet. So like they're pretty damn big, like 5 feet. They could be 10-foot waves. So body surfing, I had never body surfed before in my life. There's a sign that says, do not go in the water. There's a guy on the microphone. Don't go in the water if you're experienced. Don't go in the water if you've not been in this water before. Don't go in the water. I'm like, so I'm talking to Jake. I'm like, Jake, is this cool? He's like, you should swim. I'm like, yeah, I can swim. So he goes in his truck and he's like, I'll help you out. So he grabs a set of flippers, right? 2. He takes one, he gives me one. He's like, I'll take this one, you take that one. I'm like, 1 flipper. So he gives me one
counterintuitive.
1 flipper. So the Waimea Bay is known for, they call it like it's called shore break. So the wave comes up and it crashes on the beach. So like a lot of people, unfortunately, they break their necks because when they're body surfing, if you go straight on, it flips you up and you land on your head, you break your neck. So I had no idea. I had no clue about like sets of a wave. Like I didn't know that you wait for like the 4th or 5th. You don't go on the 1st because like then you have like 5 or 6 that are just going to pummel you after. So
I didn't know that either.
No, I didn't know that. So I was like, the first thing I'm out there, I swim out there, doggy paddle out there, first wave I see, I go straight on. I don't go sideways. I don't know. I just go, it just pushed me straight. So like brought me up. I smacked, like I tucked because I like knew I was going to hit the ground. I like tucked myself and I hit my back of my neck on the sand. Boom. And it like crunched me. And I was like, oh shit. So when that happened, the wave went and then it was like probably like shore break and then there was probably 3 foot of water. And then like I was trying to go up and like I was all disoriented. So like when I was trying to go up, like I was down. So I like hit the sand with my head. And then I popped my head up. And the second I popped my head up, a wave hit me. And I was like, oh shit. And I needed a breath. You ever like been wrestling somebody in a pool and like they're holding you under the water and you need air and you almost freak out like you're like I need air and it's like a last like ditch effort to like get air. Well, like that second wave hit me and I was right at that point, so I was almost panic mode. Like I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna suck in water here. So like the second I was able to get air again, I like got air and another wave hit me. And so like after that set was done, there was like 5 waves. I was so tired. Like
You're all fucked up. Yeah.
I literally, it was like 4th quarter, 2 minute, no huddle. Like I'm dead. Like I was dead. I like got off on the beach. I like crawled off like in a movie. I like laid on the beach. I'm like, oh God. And I didn't go back in the water. And Jake was out there for 3 hours. Never even checked on me.
And then given your masochistic trait, you're like, God, that was awesome.
I mean, it was fun. I enjoyed it. But
well, hey man.
I didn't go back out again. That's for sure.
Okay, dude. Just wrapping some things up here. Yo, Brendan, you want to ask a question to Rob? As a mega Pats fan, dude, you and I got drunk after those Super Bowls together, man.
Yes, sir. Pretend you're on ESPN. Give me a pass for next season. What do they need to address? Obviously QB, but what other things do they need to do?
They need to address a lot of positions. They need a cover linebacker on the inside, like a guy, because nowadays the running back is turned into another receiver. So if you can't cover that guy with just a linebacker, it's really tough because then you got to bring another safety or another DB in the game to try and cover that guy, which leaves you light in the box. If you're playing a team that can run the ball too. You look at Kansas City. What is that guy? That Allaire guy, Clyde's Allaire dude. Like, I think he's a young rookie, but he's like, he can catch and run out of the backfield and he can run the football. So they need an inside linebacker. They need a pass rusher. They're going to need hopefully they bring back David Andrews. They're going to need a center if they lose David. Tooney's going to be gone. They're going to need obviously a quarterback. I think the number 1 receiver is key. They need a big receiver. They need a lot of shit, man. They need a lot of stuff.
Dude, let's get some optimism out of you. What's wrong with you, man?
I'm a realist, bro. I'm not a fairy tale guy.
Okay, cool. All right. Also, you had on Wikipedia at least said you had 46 sacks in your career.
Yep.
When your son, how old's your son right now? 4?
4. Yep.
So let's say 10 years, starting to hit puberty,
Yep.
starting to become an athlete. You're like, hey, I sacked that guy.
He might be a dancer. I don't know. I don't know where he's at right now.
Well, anyway, man, I mean, who cares? When you're trying to impress your son, you're like, yeah, son, I sacked that guy. Who are you saying?
Probably Peyton Manning.
That must have been awesome. He must have been stoked.
Yeah, I've sacked him a lot, and I've intercepted him as well. So it's a cool feeling to sack a Hall of Famer and a hell of a player like Manning. So that guy, and I really wanted Favre too because I grew up with Favre, and I literally sacked him. But the thing that sucks about intentional grounding, if you're being sacked in the process and you just throw the ball away and you intentionally ground the football, they take the sack away. It's bullshit. So I had Favre, but he intentionally grounded the ball.
What about the Mark Sanchez pick six? You're not going to bring that up?
Yes, Dirty Sanchez. Yeah, that was cool. That was a cool moment.
All right, man. We'll hit
for that. Oh, you know what was a cool moment too? The sack fumble in overtime when I hit Sanchez and he fumbled. That was like a really cool, like this is a badass like sack fumble, recover the ball, game over. That was a cool moment. All cool shit, man.
And Super Bowl prediction.
Man, it's really
Chiefs
hard.
Are dirty, bro. The Chiefs are nasty.
It's hard for me to go against the Chiefs. It really is. Tom just threw 3 picks. Nobody's talking about those 3 picks he threw last week.
Yeah, but there were 2 of them like tips.
I mean,
it was a tip and then the overthrow.
The overthrow and the fadeaway like lollipop was a really bad one. Like I'm like, what are you doing right there? Eat it. Eat the sack. You'll be all right. I think the Chiefs are just too much. I think that they have too much firepower with how fast they are.
Come on, man.
But Tom Brady's good, man. Tom Brady is really good, but I want to see Tom get 7, so I'm going with Tampa.
No, you say that because he's probably your friend, but in your mind, you do think the Chiefs are gonna win.
I gotta go with my friend. Come on, I gotta go with my buddy, Tommy. Gotta go with TB.
Yo, I should have asked James this too, but is it like fun playing with yourself on Madden? Is that like a blast?
It is fun playing with yourself. Yes, Madden, of course. I mean, back in the day, my nephew would be playing Madden, and I guess there's like this. My buddy's kid plays still, and there's like a legacy characters. Like they have these guys that you can earn, and I don't know. I guess I had one. I don't know, but I was surprised I was always really highly ranked. Like I had like 90 overall, which is pretty damn.
That's
good.
Fire.
Isn't that fun? 90 for a white guy? Come on,
Brendan.
What's up?
Are you next to your laptop?
Yeah.
Can you just check what James Devlin's rating was? Because we'll see who had the better Madden rating. Rob or James? Because you guys are buddies, right?
Yeah. Yep. James is a good man. I think I definitely had the better rating. Just
what season? Do 2017.
You retired at 19, right?
Yeah.
I'm an 89. Actually,
89.
no. What is this though? Because I see them all over the place. I see 89. I see 95 in Legends.
Oh yeah, I think they have the ultimate team because Devlin has a 99 rating in this one, which is.
So in 17 Madden, it was a 98, which I don't get.
Damn, you were fucking killing it, bro.
I don't know.
Anyway, man. Well,
It's
Rob,
all good. It's all good. It's Madden. It ain't real.
well, dude, I had an awesome time, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I got to go get the kiddos from school.
Listen, we end with 2 things. One, we already discussed this. I'm dropping this movie. I'm pumped for you and the wife to see it. It's definitely not kid friendly, so do not bring the 4-year-old around for it.
Okay. Is there killing involved?
I can't give it away.
Damn it.
Oh, man.
All right.
Just know it's entirely Boston based, so I used only resources from the city to get it done. I didn't go to New York or LA or any of that bullshit. I got it done here.
Cool.
That's number 1. Number 2, dude, if you want to join me for some miles, please come meet some with me. I don't run super fast. A little 9-minute coast through.
You're a 9-minute mile guy?
Dude, you better watch that mouth. No,
No.
long term, like I got my marathon on the 7th. I'm trying to have an 8:40 pace. That's the goal.
That's a good pace. 8:40. I was gonna run the Boston Marathon, but then they canceled it. So
No, it's in September.
no, I'm saying last year I was running it. I was running it. but I wasn't training for it. So I was just gonna do it.
Dude, people would be surprised. You probably could leave your house right now and run a marathon easy if you like pain. It would just be like, yo, this is gonna fucking kill. Let me just keep going.
Yeah, fight through it. Don't be a bitch.
Rob smiling again with the masochism, man.
Yeah.
Okay, and dude, this is how we start and end the episodes. You say hi, your name, and this is my golden hour. Directly after no break, hi, your name, and that was my golden hour.
I don't know what you're talking about. Hold on. Hi, my name is Rob Ninkovich. That was my golden hour. Hi, my name is Rob Ninkovich, and that was my golden hour.
Dude, that was extremely well executed.
Is that exactly what you said?
You killed it, man. You're the media tycoon.
I have CTE, so.
All right, hey man, and listen, when we get off the phone, off the Zoom, I'll get your address. I'll send you and the wifey a sweatshirt. I got these fresh hoodies.
Sick. I'm an XL, bro.
Damn, bro. But better lose some weight.
I'm 250, bro. I'm good.
All right, hey, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
All right, man. Yeah, be good.
I'll talk to you.